The woman just went to the police station to clean, and immediately spotted a mistake in their investigation. She tossed her lollipop aside and her brain kicked into high gear. She instantly realized the police had mistaken the victim for the killer, so she crossed out the suspect's name and wrote victim instead. She thought it was just a small favor, but the next day, the chief in charge, Karadek, totally lost it.
Who did this? Hey, who did this? Who changed our board? A man is dead, our primary suspect is missing. This is not a joke.
Luckily, the police station had surveillance cameras. Gilles' dancing from last night was all recorded, but there's no rule that says a cleaner can't listen to music and dance while working. The female chief wasn't in the mood for jokes. She said interfering with a criminal case could land her in jail. Gilles looked innocent and said she had just corrected a mistake. How could that be interfering with a case? Karadek was furious. He'd been a cop for decades, and he wasn't about to be lectured by a janitor, but the female chief ignored him. Instead, she handed the case file to Gilles and asked for an explanation, and that's when her show began.
Okay, so you got a dead body. I'm assuming you think this lady offed her husband, but that's not possible. Look at this room. Look at this couch. All of these pillows are evenly spaced with alternating colors. Check out these shelves. Those objects are perfectly sized. Even the choice of metals is consistent. This house is immaculate. The owner is a tidiness freak, except all of these curtains are fastened with a tie back except for one for some reason. It's odd, isn't it? You're telling me this woman who meticulously arranges her couch pillows doesn't care about her curtains? So the tie back must have been used for something else. See, look, you've got hairs stuck to the chair leg. Somebody put tape around it, ripped it off, the glue stayed, and trapped the little bits. That means someone was tied up with the curtain cord and taped to the chair around their ankles. And since there are no marks on the victim's wrist, it wasn't him who was tied up.
Based on the details, it was obvious there was a third person at the scene. The lady of the house was clearly a victim. Her reasoning was flawless. Even Karadek, who prided himself on decades of experience, couldn't find anything to refute, but he still refused to admit he was wrong. He insisted they needed to check nearby surveillance to confirm a third person. Just as he said that, his subordinate rushed in and proved him wrong.
A woman was seen entering the house at the time of the murder.
The third person!
Even though Gilles' theory was right, she still broke the rules. So Karadek ordered her to be put in the holding cell, but he couldn't shake the feeling. He had to admit Gilles' deduction was solid. They had to start over and find the other victim. Fortunately, a nearby camera had caught something. A Chinese girl was at the scene on the day of the incident. Even though the girl denied it, she had no alibi. Just as Karadek and his team were about to name her the prime suspect, Gilles casually glanced at the footage and immediately noticed it wasn't from the day of the crime. Karadek got mad just seeing her. He was finally making progress on the case, but the female chief didn't mind. In fact, she encouraged Gilles to find the flaw. Turns out the wind in the footage was blowing southeast, but in this season the wind in the city should be from the northwest, so the footage must have been from months ago. As for how she knew the wind direction, it was easy. There was a church behind the girl. Historically, churches face east so that sunlight hits the back of the priest, making him look more like God. Then by watching the leaves in the video, you could figure out the wind direction. As for yesterday's wind, anyone should know that. The officers looked at each other confused, wondering if she was calling them dumb. Gilles didn't care. She had 3 kids waiting at home to be fed, but the female chief wanted to know where she learned all this. Turns out Gilles loved watching documentaries, and her brain was way above average. She only needed 1 or 2 hours of sleep a day, but because she was too smart, she couldn't stand seeing mistakes go uncorrected. She had a hard time working with regular people, so she could only work as a night shift janitor. But just as she left the station, Gilles saw the victim's daughter. As a mother herself, she deeply understood what the girl was going through. The female chief also walked over and said if Gilles agreed to help with the case, she could waive her fine and jail time. After some back and forth, Gilles agreed, but not because she feared the punishment. She just wanted to help the girl find her mom. But the first thing she did after joining the task force was tear apart Karadek's case report. If not for the female chief's protection, Karadek would have thrown her back in jail. They then visited the victim's sister's house. Gilles took one look at the decorations and the biology papers on the table and suspected something was off, so she asked if the woman had an alibi. Karadek was getting irritated. Gilles was just a consultant. He was the cop in charge. The two of them started yelling at each other downstairs. Gilles stormed off, but soon found Karadek in the men's restroom. She often argued with co-workers, but she never let that get in the way of work. She had just disguised herself as a cleaner, snuck into the woman's office, and found a suspicious letter in her drawer. It showed the victim and her sister's family had financial disputes. Karadek was stunned again. With all the documentaries she watched, didn't she know stolen evidence couldn't be used? He didn't even dare look at the letter, afraid it would make him an accomplice. But as a cop, he still summoned the woman's husband, who had a solid alibi. Could it be that Gilles' deduction was wrong?